Traders, how you doing? Tom with Tom Willard Trading. Welcome to another video. This is actually going to be just about Bitcoin. It's been those of you guys that are watching Bitcoin. There's a lot of people actually that aren't. In fact, it's pretty indicative. I did a video on Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin a few weeks back, and I was just going through my videos, and the hits, the amount of views I have on that video are tiny compared to a lot of the other videos, and it shows me that Bitcoin isn't mainstream yet. There's a lot of people that just aren't interested, and that's good news for those of you guys that are getting it. You're still early. It's funny because I follow a lot of different people on Twitter. Actually, and people are just pumping Bitcoin on there like crazy. There's a few people that just it's going to the moon, and it scares me. It concerns me when you get a lot of people um, uh, saying Bitcoin $100,000 by the end of 2022, easily $20,000 in the next month, and blah blah blah, and it starts to smell kind of funny to me, and it concerns me. And actually, when we had this retracement here, a lot of that was going on, and then of course everything gets silent. It's funny. I don't have to look at the chart. I don't have to look at the charts of Bitcoin. Just by looking at my Twitter feed, I can tell if it's up or down on a certain day, because if it's crickets, that means it's down, and if it's up, then everyone's going, see, told you, should have gotten in. So if you've been following my videos, I've been a proponent of Bitcoin. It's actually more, and I don't want to get into a philosophical discussion, but to me, it's a necessary diversification for everybody. I think people should be diversified into this. It is a risky, the cryptocurrencies can be perceived as risky, and obviously, your own wealth advisors or financial advisors should have the last say for you. But me, myself, friends of mine, I'm telling people you got to put a certain percentage of your portfolio in this and just get out of the fiat currency, out of dollars, out of pounds, out of euros, and diversify into cryptos. And I think Bitcoin is the king of it right now. Could there be others? Yeah, before Facebook, you'll remember there was MySpace. So don't get too ballyhooed into something, but this is starting to pick up massive worldwide acceptance. It really is starting to get to build, and I think that's one of the reasons why things are building up here and are shooting. So my anticipation is I think Bitcoin will go to $20,000. I don't know if it's going to happen this week, this month, this year even. We've got some volatile times coming up here with the election in the U.S. But it certainly could. And to me, it looks, I just tweeted about this yesterday, this looks like it's going to be a parabolic move. I would say more of a chance than not that this thing hits $20,000 literally in the next few months. Okay, that is my next target going forward. So let's look at the charts here real quick. Weekly chart upper right, daily chart upper left. 60 and 15, which we won't really look at today very much with Bitcoin because it's more of a, I don't day trade Bitcoin yet, but if you think of diversification, you think of the inflationary ramifications of a lot of the money printing that's going on and the quote unquote debt, which is just basically tons of money printing with nothing to back it. That diversifying into hard assets is critical. It's something that I know Jim Rickards talks about in a lot of his books and stuff. And the problem is a lot of those hard assets, houses, physical gold, those things are not very liquid. This, however, is a good way to diversify and have liquidity and can get in and out. So my good friend from Great Britain, Stuart, actually tweeted me about this. That's why he's the reason I'm doing this video. I was thinking about doing a video anyway, but he brought it up. So let's talk about certain levels because the charts are king. It tells you when to get in, when to get out, and the trend. The trend here on the weekly is up. Let me just make this chart a little bit bigger. Let's click into it here real quick. And let's get it drawn out here so we can really take a look at Bitcoin. Okay, so we had the big cataclysmic sell-off here in March. Kind of went down with everything else because of the COVID deal going on. And we basically, inverse head and shoulders. I talked about this in previous videos. Again, you can go back, and a lot of people don't have time to, but it's all there. I don't delete anything. So the proof is there. I talked about this. Original buy point here around $10,000 share on this inverse head and shoulders breakout, and the retrace to the support area here. Okay, you can see the support area here, $10,000 a share. Now let me draw some lines real quick. All right, here are the lines I've got drawn. I put a pretty heavy weight on them, so you can see them here. This one at $9,954.80. And again, it's an area, not an exact number, so just disregard these numbers. Basically, look at $10,000 and $12,000, right? So the neckline of this inverse head and shoulders was around $10,000 when it broke out. And then what happened? It went up about $2,000, which is what? Good God, 20%. It went up 20% in 3 weeks, 4 weeks. and then it retraced all the way back down to the entry. All right, that's a buyable event. That resistance point becomes support. Previous resistance becomes support in this uptrend. So what happened? So it came down, buyable here. Okay, I bought it again here. I added to my position, if you will, and it moved back up. Now it's breached this previous resistance point here around 12,000 and broke up here, right? So now what is this point now? It is now a support area. So if we are so lucky to get another retracement like this one back down to 12,000, maybe this goes up to 13.5, 14. Actually, it went past 13.5. This is about $14,000 a share here. This line up here where this topping tail is from back in July of last year. That's a resistance point. Now it's not a thick resistance point because it's a topping tail. It's kind of a V-top. Okay, so there's not a lot of buyers and sellers in that area. It basically kissed it and then got kicked back. So, but the charts have a memory, so it will probably have some resistance up in that area. But if you look at the symmetry of this move, I can see this making that kissing off there and pulling right back to $12,000. So just something to keep in the back of your mind that if you get that move, it would be prudent if you wanted to, if you're more of a short-term trader or if you're more nervous and you want to lock in profits, I would suggest taking profits at $13,900 a share, right in that area, right? 13.7 to 14.2. Because we'll probably get a pushback there. Does it mean we're going to? No. This thing could literally go to $20,000 in 5 hours from now. Anything can happen. It could also go to $5,000 5 hours from now. Okay, but right now the trend is up, and the chart's telling me this is going to go higher. It's going to get up to that area. And I talked about it in my Twitter feed. On Twitter, and it came up on my feed, that my first target was 13.5. Well, because of the way this is moving and the energy behind this, I'm feeling like this is going to be it's going to be more of a parabolic move. Meaning we're going to get a move, a solid push past here. Okay, so I'm actually not going to be selling any of my Bitcoin at this point. Now, like I said, those of you guys that are more squirrely, maybe you've got a large Bitcoin position relative to whatever. You know, I know there's some people that I know that they're literally like 50% of their wealth or more is in Bitcoin, and that to me is gambling. Okay, it's dangerous. I'm not saying they can't become Bitcoin gazillionaires in a year. I mean, you're swinging for the fences there, but you know, be careful. I definitely do not have that large of a percentage of my wealth tied up in Bitcoin. So those of you guys that are more squirrely, take the profits. I think that's a profit-taking area. And if we get a nice retracement back to the 11.5, the 12.5 area, after that happens, it's worth buying. Right now, if it comes back immediately at $12,000, you can consider adding to the position. Okay, small pieces though. So I wouldn't be adding a full position here. I would let it. I would be more apt to buy it at 12 if it came and did a setup like this where it topped out, took a few weeks, came back down. You want those nice calm waves, but you don't get them all the time. Okay. But this is uptrending, and that's my next target on this thing. So if we go back to, let's pull the daily out here real quick so you can get a more refined entry. So those of you guys that want stops, so those of you guys are trying to protect your profits on this thing because we've had a nice move, right? I mean, if you think about it, let me draw the daily out here. If you think about it, off this $10,000 area, and we've gone up, say, $3,000, that's 30% in, what is this, 2 months from the Labor Day area to around the end of October. 2 months, you made 30% of your cash. You know, like I said, you guys need to manage you need to have your own trading plan and manage it. Right now, I'm not selling any of this. I'm holding all of my Bitcoin because I think it's going to go past 13.9, 14 with some energy. I may be wrong. Okay, I may be wrong. It may come back down to 12 and sit there for a while, and then I'll think, oh, it's too bad I didn't sell some Bitcoin up here and bought it back at 12. So, what I want this to do is set up here. Maybe actually what I want it to do now, since I'm not buying it unless it pulls back, is to just keep going. Okay, but you don't always get what you want. So those of you guys that are in there and you want to know a place where you can take some profits where you don't give back too much, because this could literally come back to 12. It could come back to 10. All right, it could totally come back to 10. It could fall apart. So let's go back to the levels on the daily chart here. Well, wait, before I go to the weekly. So what you can do is you can trail stop. If you wanted to, what you can do is give it some room and say, okay, look, I'll sell, 25% of my Bitcoin position if it falls here below $12,600 a share. Now, you may be out in a few hours from now, okay, but then you've locked in these profits. Or you can say, well, I'll sell it here at $12,000 a share. Okay, you can do that too. If this long candle gets neutralized and it travels back underneath it, that's not good. And you get a close below that big candle, that's not good for follow through for that candle, at least on that particular time frame. Okay, so you can lock in profits that way. But again, my stop on this thing, I'm going to go back to the weekly because I got a longer time frame on this. So let me just get this. Hold on a second here. Okay, here's the weekly again, pulled out so you can see it better. So really your first stop loss is if this thing reverses and takes out $9,800 a share, you can get out in that area. Okay, that would be a pretty big pullback after this move. Very disheartening for the longs. Okay, and you do have some support area here to the left. But at that point, especially if you got in down here off the shakeout, lock in profits. Or what you can do is, sell 75% of it. A lot of people sell portions as they make their profits. I'm also a proponent of selling, moving your stop up, having various stops, protective stop losses, and selling in pieces if it were to come back against me. So if we get an aggressive candle back down, we dip under $12,000 with some force and volume, I may take 30% of my Bitcoin off the table at 11.5 and then see what happens. It may turn right back around. Then I may buy it back more expensive at 12 if it reverses. Okay, or it may come back down to 10. So you can have your stop like I talked about on the daily chart. If you want to lock in 12.5, you can knock in 12.5 now. You can go to the weekly candle here and lock in. Let's see what that low is on that. 11,400 is the low of this candle. Okay, so you can lock it in there. There's some stop levels there. Or ultimately, it's this pivot point here, which is going to be about 10,000 or no 9,800-ish on this tail here. Okay, but do keep in mind, a lot of times when this comes back down, it'll catch this support area, it'll shake out the weak longs, and it'll turn right around. But what can you do there? You can just buy back in. Okay, a lot of people though, less seasoned traders have a hard time with that, so keep that in mind. Okay, so those are the levels for Bitcoin. Again, I'm a proponent. I think this thing's going higher. I think it's going to break this topping tail on this $14,000 high. I think it's going to go to near all-time highs at $19,000, $20,000 per Bitcoin. And when it gets there, let's revisit it. I'll throw a video up here. But I'm going to tell you right now, I will definitely, right now, my approach is if it gets up there and it gets up there quickly in a parabolic type manner, I'm going to take some profits in that $19,000 area. I will be taking some profits, but depending on the parabolic, because these parabolic moves can go and they can go phenomenally. I mean, if you just think of a lot of the equities and stocks and the way things have run, this could happen here with Bitcoin. It could go well beyond 20,000. So keep that in mind. And I think from the longer diversification perspective, I think a little Bitcoin is definitely deserves and should be in any really well diversified investment portfolio. But again, I'm not your investment advisor. Talk to your investment advisor. I know that I myself feel like it's definitely something I want to have, and I will have for some time to come, unless the charts tell me differently. Okay. So I hope that helps. I hope you guys are enjoying. And again, if you're not in Bitcoin yet, hey, a lot of people have this missing out thing going on. Just let it go. The best opportunity is when now. Don't look back on the past. You can't change it, right? Right now, there's amazing opportunities coming. We got the election coming up. The volatility is going to be excellent. Okay, so if you're new to trading, don't go nuts. It's funny. I'm also getting contacted by various people that haven't contacted me before, saying they want to get in trading. And they've got money and they want to get in, they want to make a quick buck, and that scares me because that's usually when things start to fall about. When all the novices come in, they're like, "Yeah, this is easy. I'm gonna It's not. This is probably the hardest thing I've ever learned to do. It's also been the most rewarding financially, but it's definitely one of the hardest. And it may look easy because you're just pushing buttons on your mouse, but trust me, it's not. It is not an easy profession. So be careful. Follow the charts. The charts will tell you when to get in and get out. Don't be afraid to take a loss. As you'll see if you go through my videos too in the past. A lot of ideas I shared didn't pan out. You take your stops, you get out. And then the ones that are working, and the ones that come to mind, OIIM, Genesis, Peloton, they're just ripping. And you just ride those out, okay? All right, I'll do an equity video this weekend after I do my scanning. So I'll post that this weekend, probably on Sunday, I'm guessing. So watch for that. If you have any questions, hit me up, tom@tomwillertrade.com. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you in the next video soon.